Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight for 23 ABC News at 5. I'm Jessica Harrington. Tonight's top stories.
It is therefore ordered and adjudged that the said Donald John Trump be, and he is hereby, acquitted of the charges in said articles.
President Donald Trump is acquitted in the Senate impeachment trial. We'll look at today's votes for both impeachment articles and how people are responding. Plus, a man who shot and killed a woman and wounded multiple people on a bus appearing in court. We'll tell you if he pleaded in court today and what Greyhound is saying about its safety procedures. 23 ABC News at 5 starts right now.
Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News at 5 starts now.
Good evening. The months-long impeachment and Senate trial of President Donald Trump coming to an end after he was found not guilty this afternoon. The president was acquitted of both articles of impeachment. The first was for abuse of power. 52 senators voted not guilty, while 48 voted guilty. The only one not voting along party lines in this charge, Republican Senator Mitt Romney, announcing a vote to convict President Trump. He was also acquitted for the second article of impeachment, which was on obstruction of Congress. 53 voted not guilty, while 47 voted in favor. 23 ABC's Bayan Wang joins us in studio with more on how locals are reacting. Bayan?
Well, Jessica, the political world isn't too surprised. You've seen the headlines for weeks now. President Trump expected to be acquitted in the Senate. Well, today that happened, and here's what Bakersfield residents think.
I don't know. I really don't know what to say, really.
I knew it was going to happen. It was going to happen all along, so I think they wasted a lot of time.
The third impeachment trial of a sitting president in U.S. history has ended in acquittal.
And he is hereby acquitted of the charges in said articles.
Bakersfield political science professor Alan Bowler says we'll have a better idea of what people think following opinion polls.
We'll have to wait and see how opinion polls react. It doesn't seem, from what I've seen, that opinion polls have turned sharply against the president.
While those opinion polls are in process, Bakersfield residents were weighing in on the acquittal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's about time that he got off. I don't think there was enough evidence to prove it.
I'm not into all the politics, but I wouldn't have voted for him, or I'm not going to vote for him.
Other locals were disheartened by the news.
You know, I couldn't believe it. There's a people supporting that kind of person.
Republican Senator Mitt Romney was the only Republican to vote for the removal of Trump, but at the end, it wasn't enough.
It was such a rush to get him through the House that there was no one really had the opportunity, Republican-wise, to question anybody.
Naturally disappointed. You know, what else I can say?
Congressman Kevin McCarthy posting a short video on social media in which he said acquitted for life as he ripped papers in half like Speaker Nancy Pelosi did after the State of the Union address. We also reached out to Congressman TJ Cox for a reaction on the decision, but he did not respond by the time of the show. Nancy Pelosi did tweet out, quote, "The president will boast that he has been acquitted. There can be no acquittal without a trial and no trial without witnesses, documents, and evidence." President Trump also tweeted out saying that this afternoon that he will make a public statement tomorrow at noon from the White House to address the vote. We'll have a lot more reactions coming up for you at 6. For now, live in studio, Bayan Wang, 23 ABC, connecting you.
The man who's accused of shooting and killing a woman and wounding 5 others was in court today. However, Anthony Williams did not enter a plea and is set to be back in court next week. Investigators say there were 43 people on board the Greyhound bus early Monday morning traveling from LA to San Francisco. That's when the suspect, Anthony Williams, opened fire, killing 1 and injuring 5 others, according to officials. He is scheduled to be back in court next Thursday, February 13th. Now, Greyhound also sent 23 ABC a statement on safety and training. They wrote in part, quote, "While we cannot provide the full scope of our safety procedures for security reasons, all are in line with other local and national bus transportation providers. We do not use metal detectors before boarding at all of our locations, which is mainly due to the fact that travelers do not necessarily begin their trips at terminals." They also added they thoroughly train drivers and terminal team members on proper security procedures. For the full statement, you can head to our website, turnto23.com. A man has been arrested in connection to a deadly stabbing near a smoke shop in Oildale as officials have identified the victim. According to the sheriff's office, 34-year-old Jesse Lopez was arrested. The stabbing happened near the Sunshine Smoke Shop on Roberts Lane and Belmont Avenue yesterday afternoon. The department said a man, later identified as 53-year-old Tracy Scott Elliott, was stabbed in the torso. He was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Lopez has been booked into the Kern County Jail. A man who was accused of multiple sexual assault charges has been found guilty. Clifford Bunn assaulted a woman when they were 9 and 10 years old. The offenses reportedly occurred during 2018 and 2019 at a residence in Cal City. Bunn was married to the victim's mother at the time of the offenses. His sentencing is set for March 17th, where he faces 145 years to life. Authorities with the Bureau of Cannabis Control executed a search warrant on another local pot shop. This one was in Oildale. According to the Bureau, the shop Cannabis was the third shop they had a warrant for this week. They raided 2 shops in East Bakersfield yesterday. Officials say they were following up on a complaint and said they will board up the shop as they continue their investigation. The Bureau took illegal product, cash, and furnishings. Well, in the race for 2020, Democratic candidates continue to hit the trail in New Hampshire. Top Iowa performers Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders are both frustrated. The complete results still haven't been released. ABC's Trevor Alt has the story from Manchester, New Hampshire.
As Democratic candidates crisscross New Hampshire, the 2 contenders who believe they won in Iowa are a bit frustrated by the slow rollout of the results. Senator Bernie Sanders saying in a town hall Wednesday,
"I assume that one of these years that vote count will be completed."
And Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who has a slight edge in the Iowa delegate count, telling ABC's Whit Johnson,
"This is one of the best, probably the best moments in the campaign in terms of what we've been able to achieve since we got in. And it would, of course, have been good to have that officially verified and confirmed on the same day."
While the results aren't yet final, former Vice President Joe Biden has responded to an apparent 4th-place finish by launching far more pointed attacks, first criticizing Senator Sanders' ideology.
Every Democrat will have to carry the label Senator Sanders has chose for himself. Donald Trump is desperate to pin the socialist label of socialist on our party. We can't let him do that.
And then directly taking on Buttigieg over his lack of experience.
I do believe it's a risk, to be just straight up with you, for this party to nominate someone who's never held office higher than mayor of a town of 100,000 people in Indiana.
Wednesday was, of course, the final time the senators who are running had to jet back to Washington, D.C. for President Trump's impeachment trial. No candidates dropped out of the race after the Iowa caucuses. The upcoming primary here in New Hampshire is expected to possibly start thinning the pack. Trevor Alt, ABC News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Meanwhile, the next Democratic debate in New Hampshire is this Friday, and ABC News will be covering it live right here on 23 ABC beginning at 5 p.m. We will have a special digital newscast of 23 ABC News at 5 on our website, turn23.com, as well as our 23 ABC Facebook page. Both 23 ABC News at 6 and the Now Bakersfield at 7 will not air. A special edition of 23 ABC News will follow the debate at 8 p.m., and we will have a complete wrap-up of the debate on 23 ABC News at 11. Again, the Democratic debate this Friday, live right here on 23 ABC. This morning, hundreds of Americans began their quarantines at military bases in California. The quarantines come hours after landing in the Golden State from China. 2 planes carrying coronavirus evacuees landed at Travis Air Force Base in Solano County early Wednesday morning. The aircraft was carrying hundreds of Americans who were evacuated from the country amid the growing spread of the deadly coronavirus. Passengers on one plane will stay at Travis, and the second plane will head to Miramar Marine Corps Air Station in San Diego. Passengers will be quarantined for 14 days. According to our sister station in San Diego, no military personnel will have any contact with the passengers. The passengers will be cared for by the CDC and Health and Human Services staff.
Bakersfield had another day with sunny skies and temperatures were up from this time yesterday. We are looking at those mid-50s right now here in Bakersfield, and temperatures are warmer across the region. So the past several days we were tracking that cold air mass, so that led to negative numbers. But right now up 4 from this time yesterday in Bakersfield and up 12 in Fraser Park. And this warming trend is only going to continue as we head into the next several days. So this evening you can expect the return of the 40s by around 8 p.m. down to 42 degrees by 10 here in Bakersfield, and our mountain communities will be dipping down into the 30s, potentially even 20s overnight. But Bakersfield's overnight low is going to be at 37. That's up nearly 5 degrees from what we were feeling last night because high pressure continues to move into the region. So we will be dry with warming temperatures. I have more details on just how warm we will be getting this weekend coming up next.
Rosemarys is closed today in honor and celebration of founder Francis DeMarco, who died last week, as a service was held at a local church. Services were held at St. Francis Church on F Street. DeMarco was 89 years old when he died. For the last 36 years, his legacy has brought sweetness and joy to the community through the sweet treats at Rosemarys Creamery. The ice cream shop, named after DeMarco's wife of more than 60 years, was opened by the couple back in 1984. Cal State Bakersfield will be honoring Black History Month by hosting several events on campus. Tomorrow, the Icardo Center will host Gospel Fest 2020. The annual festival will feature choirs, dance groups, and soloists from the spiritual community. The event is open to the public, and it's happening Thursday at the Icardo Center from 5 until 8 p.m. The following day, the community will come together for an annual breakfast at CSUB. It is the 5th annual Unity Breakfast in the Stockdale room of CSUB's Runner Cafe. Breakfast will be provided, and university officials say there will also be an inspirational message, and someone will receive the annual Unity Award. The award will honor someone who exemplifies outstanding contributions in promoting diversity and collaborations. The breakfast is happening Friday at 7 a.m. For a full list of events happening for Black History Month, be sure to head to our website, turnto23.com. The Downtown Business Association and the Downtown Bakersfield Development Corporation are gearing up to host the State of the Downtown Breakfast next week. The theme of this year's breakfast is creating a clean, safe, and welcoming area for the heart of our city. The breakfast is set to take place from 7 until 9 a.m. next Thursday, February 13th at the Westchester Hall in downtown Bakersfield. Tickets are $70. To purchase them, head to our website, turnto23.com.